Welcome to my channel, Most Worth Coins WC, where history lives in your hands. If you're passionate about rare coins, vintage currency, and the fascinating stories behind them, you're in the right place. Don't forget to watch the full video, share it with your fellow collectors, and subscribe to stay updated with more valuable content every week. So without further ado, let's get started. The 2009 John Tyler Presidential $1 coin is a notable piece in the United States Mint's Presidential $1 coin program, a series launched in 2007 to honor the legacy of the American presidency. The coin series was authorized by the Presidential $1 Coin Act of 2005, which sought not only to commemorate the U.S. presidents in the order of their service, but also to reintroduce the dollar coin to general circulation with an innovative design. The John Tyler coin, released in May 2009, represents the 10th coin in the series and features the nation's 10th president, John Tyler, who served from 1841 to 1845. Interestingly, the dates on the coin show 1841-1845, but Tyler is often remembered more for the circumstances under which he assumed office than the years he served. The obverse, front side of the coin, prominently displays a portrait of John Tyler, designed and sculpted by Phoebe Hemphill, a talented sculptor-engraver for the U.S. Mint, whose work has appeared on numerous modern U.S. coins. The reverse, back, side of the coin, as with all presidential $1 coins, features a striking image of the Statue of Liberty, designed by Don Everhart. The statue is symbolic of the values that underlie American democracy and freedom, which each of the presidents, in their own way, represented and contributed to. John Tyler's presidency is a fascinating and often underappreciated chapter in American history. He was born on March 29, 1790, in Charles City County, Virginia, into a wealthy and politically influential family. His father was a prominent planter and judge who served as governor of Virginia. Tyler was well educated, graduating from the College of William and Mary at the age of 17, and he entered politics in his 20s, quickly rising through the ranks. He served in the Virginia House of Delegates as governor of Virginia and as a U.S. senator. Although elected vice president on the Whig Party ticket alongside President William Henry Harrison in 1840, Tyler's true political beliefs often conflicted with the party leadership. When Harrison died just 31 days into his presidency, the shortest in U.S. history, John Tyler became the first vice president to assume the presidency due to the death of his predecessor, thereby setting a crucial precedent for presidential succession. At the time, the Constitution was somewhat vague on the exact process, but Tyler insisted on taking the full powers of the presidency, a move that some derisively referred to as his accidency. Nevertheless, this moment solidified the idea that the vice president becomes president, not merely acting president in such situations, a principle later codified in the 25th Amendment. Tyler's tenure in office was marked by political turmoil and conflict. He vetoed several key pieces of Whig legislation, including bills to reestablish a national bank, which enraged his party and led to his expulsion from the Whig Party altogether. In fact, Tyler became the first U.S. president to serve without any formal party affiliation for the majority of his term. Despite the controversies, Tyler's administration saw some important developments. He pursued expansionist policies, particularly with regard to the annexation of Texas, which became a major political issue by the end of his term. Although the actual annexation occurred shortly after he left office, his groundwork laid the path for it. Tyler also played a role in strengthening the U.S. Navy, modernizing naval operations, and expanding America's maritime presence. His foreign policy accomplishments included the Webster-Ashburton Treaty, which helped resolve border issues between the U.S. and British Canada. Still, his presidency remains one of the most debated in American history, with some praising his adherence to principle and others criticizing his obstructionist tendencies. From a numismatic perspective, the 2009 John Tyler $1 coin carries both historical and collectible value. Like other coins in the series, it was struck in manganese brass-clad composition, consisting of 88.5% copper, 6% zinc, 3.5% manganese, and 2% nickel. This gives it a golden appearance reminiscent of earlier gold coins, though it contains no actual precious metal. The coin weighs 8.1 grams, has a diameter of 26.5 meters, and a smooth edge, which is inscribed with key information such as the year of minting, mint mark, P, D, or S, depending on Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco Mint, and the mottos E pluribus unum and In God We Trust. Interestingly, early releases of the presidential $1 coins from 2007 and part of 2008 featured In God We Trust on the edge, but public outcry over its placement led to the motto being moved to the obverse starting in 2009, making the E. John Tyler coin among the first to have the motto repositioned to the front of the coin, directly below his portrait. This change makes the Tyler dollar a transitional issue and thus more intriguing to collectors. The coin was struck for circulation, collector bags and rolls, and in proof sets. Circulating versions were minted at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with typical mintages reaching into the tens of millions. As with most modern dollar coins, however, they were not widely circulated by the public, and many ended up in storage or with collectors. The San Francisco Mint produced proof versions, struck using special dies and polished planchets, typically sold in annual proof sets. These coins have a mirror-like finish and are highly prized by collectors. While the coin does not have significant monetary value beyond its face value or small premiums in the collector's market, especially in circulated condition, uncirculated or proof versions can fetch a few dollars, depending on condition, packaging, and whether they are part of a full presidential dollar set. A perfect MS-70 or PR-70 certified coin from a grading service like PCGS or NGC could sell for more among dedicated collectors. One interesting aspect about the John Tyler coin is the broader cultural reflection it provides. Tyler fathered 15 children, the most of any U.S. president, and 2 of his grandsons were still alive in the 21st century, a rare testament to the generational gap between early presidents and the modern era. His post-presidency was also unique. During the secession crisis of 1861, Tyler sided with the Confederacy, was elected to the Confederate House of Representatives, and died in 1862 before taking his seat. As a result, he is the only U.S. president whose death was not officially mourned in Washington, D.C., and he is buried under a Confederate flag. This complicated legacy adds a layer of complexity and controversy to the way Tyler is remembered today. In conclusion, the 2009 John Tyler $1 presidential coin is far more than a simple monetary instrument. It is a physical reminder of a pivotal moment in American political evolution. It commemorates a president who redefined the office by asserting the full power of presidential succession, a man whose principles isolated him politically, but whose decisions shaped the trajectory of executive power in the United States. Whether held in a coin collection or studied for historical significance, the John Tyler dollar offers a unique intersection of numismatics, politics, and legacy. As part of the larger presidential $1 coin program, it helps modern Americans reflect on the country's foundational figures, their triumphs, flaws, and the enduring system of governance they helped build. The coin stands as a tribute to the strength of the constitutional framework that allowed a vice president to become president. Without a constitutional crisis, and its golden color gleams as a modern connection to the past. The 2010 Franklin Pierce Presidential $1 coin is part of the ongoing Presidential $1 coin program, an initiative launched in 2007 by the United States Mint to honor former U.S. presidents in the order of their service. The program was authorized under the Presidential $1 Coin Act of 2005, and each year saw the release of 4 coins bearing the images of successive presidents. The Franklin Pierce coin, released in May 2010, was the 14th coin in the series, commemorating Pierce as the 14th President of the United States, who served a single term from 1853 to 1857. While the coin's obverse bears the name Franklin Pierce and the inscriptions "In God We Trust," 14th President, and 1853, 1857, the reverse side, like all coins in the series, features a majestic image of the Statue of Liberty, a symbol of American ideals and freedom, designed by Don Everhart. The obverse portrait of President Pierce was designed and sculpted by Donna Weaver, a talented artist associated with the U.S. Mint's Artistic Infusion Program. The coin captures a dignified likeness of Pierce, reflecting both his stature as a national figure and the solemnity of his presidency, which unfolded during one of the nation's most divisive eras. Franklin Pierce, born November 23, 1804. In Hillsborough, New Hampshire, came from a prominent political family and enjoyed a meteoric rise in American politics. A graduate of Bowdoin College, he was a lawyer by profession but quickly entered public life, serving in both the U.S. House of Representatives and Senate before the age of 40. Though a Northerner, Pierce held sympathies for the Southern states' rights position, a stance that would come to define his controversial presidency. He was a Democrat, chosen as a dark horse candidate in the 1852 presidential election after a contentious party convention. He won the presidency in a landslide, defeating Whig candidate Winfield Scott, largely due to his appeal as a compromise figure and his firm support for the Compromise of 1850, legislation meant to ease tensions between free and slave states. Pierce entered office during a time of growing sectional division over slavery, and although he aspired to unify the country, his actions often had the opposite effect. One of the defining and most polarizing decisions of his administration was his support for the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854, which repealed the Missouri Compromise and allowed settlers in those territories to decide the slavery issue by popular sovereignty. This act led directly to violent conflict in Bleeding, Kansas, deepened the North-South divide, and is widely viewed as a key step toward the outbreak of the Civil War a decade later. Despite his background as a skilled orator and a popular political figure, Pierce's presidency was plagued by controversy, party infighting, and personal tragedy. He suffered deeply from the loss of his only surviving son in a tragic train accident just before he took office, which deeply affected his mood and outlook throughout his term. He and his wife, Jane, were deeply religious and introverted, and the White House was often somber during their residence. Politically, Pierce was seen as overly sympathetic to pro-slavery interests, which eroded his support in the North and fractured the Democratic Party. His administration also pursued expansionist policies, including efforts to acquire Cuba through the Ostend Manifesto, which was roundly criticized and ultimately rejected. By the end of his term, Pierce had become one of the most unpopular presidents in U.S. history, and his own party refused to nominate him for a second term. He remains the only elected president denied renomination by his own party. After leaving office, Pierce returned to private life in New Hampshire, where he remained politically outspoken but increasingly isolated. He died in 1869, and his presidency is often ranked poorly by historians due to his failure to address the deepening national crisis over slavery and secession. Numismatically, the 2010 Franklin Pierce $1 coin is a standard issue in terms of its physical characteristics, but still carries collectible interest due to its place in the broader presidential dollar series. The coin is made from a manganese brass-clad composition, consisting of 88.5% copper, 6% zinc, 3.5% manganese, and 2% nickel, giving it a distinctive golden hue. It weighs 8.1 grams, measures 26.5 millimeters in diameter, and features a lettered edge, a unique feature of the series, bearing the inscriptions E pluribus unum, the mint mark, P, D, or S, the year of issue, 2010, and 13 stars. The EB motto, "In God We Trust," originally placed on the edge of earlier coins in the series, had by 2009 been moved to the obverse just beneath the president's portrait due to public concern and legislative revision. The coin was produced at the Philadelphia, P, and Denver, D mints for circulation, and at the San Francisco S mint for collector-proof versions. Circulating mintage numbers were in the tens of millions, typical for coins in the program, though actual circulation was limited, as the public generally preferred paper currency, and the $1 coins were more popular among collectors than the general public. While the Franklin Pierce $1 coin is not rare, it does attract collectors interested in completing the full presidential $1 series. Uncirculated coins in mint condition, MS-65 or better, may carry modest premiums, and proof versions from the San Francisco Mint, with their mirror-like fields and frosted devices, are valued for their beauty and precision. Higher-end specimens, particularly those graded PR69 or PR70 Deep Cameo by services such as NGC or PCGS, can command prices above face value, though they are generally affordable to most collectors. The coin is also featured in annual mint and proof sets, as well as rolls and bags marketed directly by the U.S. Mint. Although not made of precious metals, the coin's symbolic and educational value enhances its appeal. Many collectors appreciate the coin for its role in telling the story of American leadership, including the difficult and sometimes divisive administrations that shaped the nation's path. In a broader cultural sense, the coin invites reflection on the legacy of Franklin Pierce, a president caught in the storm of sectionalism, whose failure to steer the nation away from division ultimately contributed to the march toward civil war. His coin, like others in the series, serves not only as a tool for commerce, but as a compact, tangible piece of American history, enabling a new generation to engage with the stories, struggles, and decisions that have defined the United States. The presence of "In God We Trust" and the Statue of Liberty on the coin reminds holders of the enduring American ideals of faith and freedom, even as the individual president depicted may have presided over a more turbulent chapter in national life. As such, the Franklin Pierce presidential $1 coin stands as a meaningful addition to the numismatic series, a golden-hued gateway into the past, reflecting both the promise and the peril of presidential leadership during one of the most fraught eras in U.S. history. The 2011 Rutherford B Hayes $1 coin is part of the United States Mint's presidential $1 coin program, created to honor all deceased U.S. presidents in the order they served, with 4 coins released annually from 2007 until the program concluded in 2016. Although Rutherford B Hayes was the 19th President of the United States, serving from 1877 to 1881, his commemorative $1 coin was not released until 2011 as part of the 5th year of the series. This has occasionally caused confusion, as his earlier presidential dollar coin had already been issued in 2010. However, 2011 marked the release year for Hayes's position in production order, not his presidential number. The coin's obverse, front, features a detailed portrait of Rutherford B Hayes, sculpted and designed by Don Everhart, an acclaimed artist for the U.S. Mint. Surrounding the portrait are the inscriptions, "Rutherford B Hayes, In God We Trust, 19th President, and 1877-1881. Notably, "In God We Trust" was moved from the edge to the obverse starting in 2009, following public criticism over its perceived omission on early presidential $1 coins. The reverse, back side of the coin displays a powerful and symbolic image of the Statue of Liberty, also designed by Everhart, with inscriptions "United States of America" and $1, symbolizing freedom, opportunity, and the ideals that have defined the American presidency for centuries. Rutherford B Hayes's presidency came at a profoundly consequential moment in U.S. history. Born in 1822 in Ohio, Hayes was a lawyer, soldier, and politician who rose through the ranks during the Civil War, where he served with valor and was wounded several times in battle. Before becoming president, Hayes served in Congress and was a 3-time governor of Ohio, earning a reputation for honesty, reform, and administrative competence. His presidential election in 1876 remains one of the most disputed and controversial in U.S. history. Although Samuel J. Tilden, his Democratic opponent, won the popular vote and initially seemed to carry the Electoral College, 20 electoral votes from 4 states were contested. A special electoral commission awarded those votes to Hayes, making him president by a single electoral vote, 185-184. This resolution came as part of the infamous Compromise of 1877, a backroom agreement in which Democrats accepted Hayes's presidency in exchange for the withdrawal of federal troops from the South, effectively ending the era of Reconstruction. While this move brought a fragile peace to the Union, it also marked the beginning of a darker chapter in American history, as Southern states quickly passed Jim Crow laws, disenfranchising African Americans and reversing many of the gains made during Reconstruction. Hayes was a reform-minded president who sought to restore trust in the executive branch after the corruption-laden years of Ulysses S. Grant's administration. He strongly opposed the spoils system, which allowed political supporters to gain government positions regardless of merit. Hayes made civil service reform a central focus, battling members of his own party who favored patronage and pushing for government appointments based on merit rather than party loyalty. He also attempted to reconcile the North and South, though his efforts were often viewed as naive or counterproductive in the face of systemic racial discrimination that followed the end of federal oversight in the South. Internationally, Hayes promoted modernization and trade, especially with Latin America and Asia. Domestically, he vetoed anti-Chinese immigration legislation, though such exclusion laws would later pass under future administrations. Hayes kept his word to serve only one term and left office in 1881, returning to private life in Ohio, where he became a prominent advocate for educational reform, prison reform, and support for black citizens. He died in 1893, but his post-presidency was marked by continued civic engagement and a quiet dignity that historians often view as a positive contrast to the turbulent political world he left behind. Numismatically, the 2011 Rutherford B Hayes $1 coin follows the specifications established for all coins in the presidential series. It is composed of a manganese brass-clad alloy consisting of 88.5% copper, 6% zinc, 3.5% manganese, and 2% nickel, giving it a unique golden appearance. It weighs 8.1 grams, has a diameter of 26.5 millimeters, and features a lettered edge, which includes the inscriptions E Pluribus Unum, the year 2011, 13 stars, and the mint mark, P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco proof coins. The edge lettering was an innovative feature introduced with the presidential dollar program and continues to be a point of fascination for collectors, especially when errors or variations occur, such as missing edge lettering or doubled inscriptions. The 2011 Hayes coin was released into general circulation, with millions of coins struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. It was also included in the presidential dollar proof sets and mint sets, where collectors could obtain pristine, high-grade examples struck with extra care. As with most coins in the series, actual public use was limited due to the public's preference for paper currency, and these coins are more often seen in coin albums, bank rolls, or proof collections than in day-to-day commerce. Although the 2011 Rutherford B Hayes $1 coin is not considered rare, it remains a compelling collector's item, particularly for those assembling the full presidential dollar set or those interested in historical U.S. currency. In circulated condition, the coin holds face value, but uncirculated examples in MS-65 to MS-67 grade can fetch a small premium, especially from collectors seeking flawless coins. Proof versions, struck at the San Francisco Mint with mirror-like surfaces and frosted devices, are generally the most visually appealing and valuable, particularly those certified by grading services such as PCGS or NGC in PR69 or PR70 Deep Cameo condition. Although the coin does not contain precious metals like silver or gold, it holds value in its educational and commemorative role. serving as a tangible link to American presidential history and the turbulent post-Reconstruction period. Its design, featuring a clean and respectful portrait of Hayes alongside the majestic Statue of Liberty, symbolizes the themes of reform, unity, and the often complicated path of American progress. In conclusion, the 2011 Rutherford B Hayes $1 coin is much more than a monetary token. It is a miniature monument to one of America's lesser-known but deeply consequential presidents. Hayes presided over the end of Reconstruction, attempted to heal a divided nation, and fought corruption at a time when the American people were disillusioned with government. The coin honoring him captures this legacy in a simple yet powerful design, making it both a historical artifact and a collector's keepsake. Whether held in a museum display, tucked away in a collector's binder, or given to a student learning about U.S. history, this coin stands as a small but meaningful representation of one president's effort to guide the country through one of its most complex transitions. As part of the broader presidential $1 series, it invites reflection not only on Rutherford B Hayes' time in office, but on the evolving role of the presidency itself and the enduring principles of liberty and governance that bind the United States together across generations.